What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Source and Company. I am your host, Source, of course. You can always catch me on Twitter or on Instagram at SmittySource, and of course, you can always check out the YouTube channel, Source and Company, where all of the episodes are housed for your convenience and mine, for real. Today's company, we have a Richmond native. Y'all know that I like to represent Richmond and bring as many people that are from Richmond in as I can, especially people that you might not even realize are from Richmond, and you might see them on TV, hear them on the radio, whatever the case may be. So today's company is from Richmond, J.R. Tucker graduate, before he headed off to college and then out to Hollywood to become an actor. Been an actor for over 10 years, and a bunch of shows that you know and love, especially in my household. It's one of the favorites. So today's company is Brandon Rush. What's good, bro?
Thank you very much, man. Happy here. I didn't know if you prefer to go by the Source or what, so I didn't know what I was about to call you.
Source, Mike. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. It's all good.
If I ever call you Mike, I like they're all awesome. I just call you Mike.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good.
Well, Mike, I appreciate you having me here today, and I appreciate you, just putting people from Richmond, BA, or Virginia in general on the map, and just, giving us a platform to talk. That's really impressive on your part, and I'm really thankful for that.
I appreciate it. So you, my man, well, you're normally bouncing around the country, specifically Hollywood, LA area, but right now we got lockdowns all over the place, and of course dealing with the COVID-19. How's that been for you? Is everybody on your end doing all right?
Everyone's doing pretty good. As I was saying, I just want to thank all the first responders out there right now and everybody that's been working during this pandemic in any single facet. Even when, ordering food online and coming up to pick a delivery, I'm just so grateful that everybody that is just helping out during this time. They've been extremely helpful for my family as well. We're doing pretty good, man. We're taking all the precautions necessary to make sure that, we don't get sick, that we're following all the guidelines that the news has been reporting. So we're just doing our best, man. We're doing all right now. I'm very thankful and blessed to have that.
Excellent. Yeah, man. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's a whole new world for all of us. We're all trying to kind of get into it as much as you want to,
Absolutely.
For me, it's been like, I always say this when I introduce somebody. I always say that I've done well, so far.
Absolutely.
And of course, there's a lot going on. People, passing away, getting sick. So you don't want to be like, oh, I'm, great in this pandemic, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But trying to do the best we can in the situation.
Absolutely. And so just hopefully we can all stay safe, and then hopefully the first responders out there and doctors and scientists can find a cure, and not to mention the nurses that are working extremely hard. I have a lot of friends in the medical field who I keep in contact with them on the regular. Just to make sure that they're doing all right, and just let them know that I'm praying for them.
Absolutely. Well, again, I appreciate you taking the time to join me today.
Absolutely.
Like I mentioned, I was hoping you were in LA, man. I had my
dude,
for you.
I'm loving that Lakers, and then the Black Mamba, man. Oh gosh, it's terrible.
Man.
It's what happened. It's such a tragedy.
That was a rough day. That was a rough day. But so you're not in LA at the moment. That you had been in New York recently, even during the pandemic, the start of the pandemic time. So how was that?
First of all, I was happy to be back in New York, filming an episode of Blue Bloods. It was definitely a different feel. I'm used to, LaGuardia Airport being very busy whenever I get there, but
Right.
This time it wasn't that packed, and I'm seeing different protocols being done. So I was taking all the safety precautions I could when traveling, because, I have to travel by subway a lot of places. And I went from Queens to downtown Manhattan all the way up to the Bronx to shoot. So,
Wow.
And that's by subway. So I'm just thinking, like, Lord, just, protect me during this time. And, there's a lot of people in those subways now. There was a lot of people in the subways at the time compared to how it is now. So I'm looking at, videos now of it being empty. But even when I was on set of Blue Bloods, we were taking precautions. The original precautions they were saying, don't shake hands, just be very careful about what you do. And so we were all being very precautious at that time.
Yeah, I was actually I guess when things got hairy for real, we were on our way to New York. We were actually leaving it was a Thursday. I think it was around the 12th, maybe.
Okay.
The 12th to go to New York. And my daughter runs track in high school.
Oh, awesome.
were going up to the New Balance Nationals.
Okay.
And we would have been staying in Manhattan and
Oh,
traveling
wow.
to Brooklyn. So luckily, we pulled out the day before.
Yeah,
Parents kind of got together and was like, it's probably, it's going to be hard, but we probably shouldn't do this. And then
absolutely.
they canceled it that next morning. So
Oh, man.
yeah, I was not looking forward to that.
How's she taking it, if you don't mind me asking? How's your daughter taking it? Because I assume
Man,
she's a junior or senior or something
she's a
like that.
junior. Yeah, she's
Okay.
a junior. And I'm sure she was more upset than she showed.
Yeah,
She understood the consequences, but Bill, I mean, you've been waiting for this thing to happen.
absolutely.
Weeks, months, whatever you want to call it. And then the day before you leave, it's like, not
Oh, man.
only the track part of it, but the New York part. And we were staying in Manhattan. We were staying
Beautiful place.
days, and we were going to try to be able to do other things. And it's rough. It's rough. But it still would have been different.
Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that. And then I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm sorry for her. I'm sorry for a lot of the juniors and seniors around here, around the United States and the world. They're just going with, not being able to be with their friends. In fact, everyone is missing out on school right now. That's really a big deal. And then, dude, New York's beautiful. I mean, that's my second home right there.
Yeah.
And so I just hate this, what's happening. Just so many good people up there, man. And I know that experience would have been wonderful for you and your daughter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it is what it is. So here we are, April, just looking forward to what's going on in the future. Hopefully sooner than later, right? Hopefully sooner.
Absolutely.
As long as it's safe.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely have to be safe. You got to err on the side of caution, I believe.
Absolutely. Definitely want to do that. So, like I mentioned, you are from Richmond. Have you been to Richmond recently? Like, have you noticed the difference? I feel like it's a difference in Richmond than probably when you were here more often. Have you?
I mean, things are built up around here a lot bigger than before when I remember because kind of where the area that my parents live in is off of Broad Street. So I remember when it was just woods going down in certain areas down here. And now the short pump areas where I grew up in. So from where it being just a Walmart there to malls here. The mall was there when I was in college the last couple of years, but it's just blown up tremendously.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, so no, Richmond's just kind of, I mean, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, but I love it. It's always home.
Absolutely. So you went to Tucker, man. Tucker.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know a lot of people that went to Tucker, but
that's all right though.
And you played football, huh?
I did play football there. Yeah, I played outside linebacker, safety, and cornerback, and I was number 14.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, man, loved it.
Myself, but that's neither here nor there. Not important.
So hey, that's right though. It actually is, man. My brother was a big time baller. He's at Tucker.
Yeah, trust me. I know.
Yeah.
I've heard. He's told me.
Okay.
Yeah. So that led you to after Tucker, you went out to South Carolina.
Yeah, University of South Carolina, man. Go Gamecocks.
How did you even make that decision to go to South Carolina? There had to be some type of connection or something, right?
Absolutely, man. So when college was coming around, all my whole entire lifetime, my dad is a graduate at University of South Carolina.
Okay.
My aunt Evelyn's actually the first African American to graduate from the medical school of University of South Carolina.
Wow.
My uncle Ben went to University of South Carolina. My aunt went to University of South Carolina. So we have a big family tradition going to University of South Carolina. So it was a school that it's been in my blood, man. I can see the garnet and black since I've been a kid. So it's just in that football theme, man, the 2001, because I actually walked on when I was there when I was a freshman.
Really?
Yeah, man. I walked on for spring.
How was that?
It was honestly, it was awesome, man. Just to have an opportunity to do that was great. And then, my parents got to come see me play. And I believe my uncle came to the game too. So that was pretty awesome.
That's dope, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So Dave told me, your brother Dave, mentioned that you all used to spend a lot of time in South Carolina in the summer with your grandparents.
Absolutely, man. It was an absolute blessing because we grew up in a church, and so just to have that opportunity, our parents wanted us to grow up because my parents wanted us to grow up being able to have both, us growing up in Virginia, but to be able to spend that time with our grandparents because that's such important, man. That's such an important thing, part of life. So just to have that opportunity, and I'm sure it probably gave them a break too.
True.
But but it was important for us to be able to spend time with our grandparents, our aunts and uncles, because basically our whole entire family's down there. outside of the immediate family, which is in Virginia. So it was just a blessing, man. I've always loved it.
So how did you even get into, like, was the whole acting thing, was that a dream, or did it come up in college? Or?
So it's kind of two parts, man. It was always a dream, but like a dream that's so unreachable. Being a kid from Richmond, Virginia, man, like what are the chances a kid like me could ever go on to be an actor? Because we didn't have the opportunities that I knew about to do acting commercials or theatrical, only movies, anything like that. The only two places you could do that were in New York and LA at the time.
Yep.
That's before Atlanta kind of blew up. So I kind of was something just in the back of my head, man, but just like I went to college, majored in broadcast journalism, mass communications. So it was while I was there that I had a girlfriend at the time. And between all the movies my brother and I always watched growing up and me spending time with my girlfriend at the time, one Christmas break, I went to spend time with her over Christmas break, and her family was really big into movies. Her dad, her name's Cassie, but her dad, Dave, was really big into movies. And it was at that moment where I was sitting there watching movies with them in the living room, and acting was something that was really starting to strongly beat inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so she just told me, and the whole entire family, her family told me, like, this is something you really need to go after. If this is what you want to do, then you should go after it and pursue it. And so it was that December, and was that 2007 that I'm like, hey, this is something I'm going to pursue. I just got to figure out a way to go about doing that.
And that's dope. Especially, that's not even your family. That's your girlfriend's family, or your girlfriend.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing, though. I mean, somebody sees something in you, even outside of your family. Somebody sees something in you, or maybe sees the passion in you.
Yeah.
Field, and they try to push you in that direction. That's an awesome thing.
Absolutely, man. And so I actually ended up going back to Carolina, and I took this television and acting class, and I just loved it. And during that time, one of my professors had been in he'd done a bunch of commercials, I think some movies. So he told me, hey, Brandon, there's this commercial I think you'd be right for, this Beta Glucan commercial. They're looking for a fit guy, and he just thought I should go audition for it. So I remember the audition a little bit. I just went to this random place in Carolina, and they had me, I think maybe said some words or just do a pose, and they're like, oh, you booked it. So I was like super stoked to do this commercial. I was like in this red, surprisingly the same color as this, like a red, like long sleeve shirt, playing this like superhero type of guy.
Wow, really?
Yeah, man, it's a funny commercial.
I'm gonna have to look that one up. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I'm gonna have to look that up.
I don't know if I could find it either, man. I just remember the first time it came on. I used to always eat family with. So when I was at college, every Wednesday I go with my grandparents to eat dinner at the Scott's house. So we had this big family dinner between two families, and it came on when I was there.
Wow.
And so I was just so like stoked. I remember running out of the room and just like watching like the dinner table. I couldn't believe it.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning, right? That was the beginning of the dream.
It really was. It really was.
How'd you end up bouncing out to well, what was the first place you went? LA?
Yeah, LA. So there was a school called I was looking for acting schools, man, and because I spent so much money in college, I was trying to find like, to be honest, the cheapest acting school possible.
Right.
So American Academy of Dramatic Arts was one of the schools that I looked at, and there was an actor in there who I loved named Dennis Hasbert, State Farm guy.
Yeah.
But he also played President Palmer on 24, which was one of my favorite shows that like I watched all throughout college with my brother. I watched when I was home. We binge watched that for 3 weeks when Blockbuster was still around, right?
Whoa.
we went through 3 seasons. They got to know us at Blockbuster because we were like switching out these DVDs all the time. So it was originally there, and then I was always watching it with my buddies in college. So that's what, seeing Dennis Hazard be there, I'm like, this is a school that I have to go to. So I ended up applying to that school, had to audition for it, which is a story in itself. They had a touring thing where they were touring around the country, and the last tour date they had was in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So I memorized the dialogue for it. I applied. I sent in whatever the amount of money I had to send in to audition for the school. I drove from South Carolina to Virginia, which is about 6 hours. And then I got some sleep. And my dad, such an incredible man, he drove me to DC that morning. And I auditioned for the president of the New York School for American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And she's like, well, I think you're great. And right now you just got to decide what school you're going to go to. Do you want to go to New York, or do you want to go to Los Angeles? And New York was always where my heart was, just always has been, because I lived in New York previously before that one summer. But I talked to my professor from the acting school, from the acting class that I took, and he said that, well, Brandon, right now, mainly TV's in Los Angeles and theaters in New York. So I'm like, well, that looks like that looks like where the decision is going to be. So I didn't know exactly where LA was. So I looked on a map, and I'm like, okay, well, on the East Coast would be where Atlanta is, and like, you know, on the other side of the plane. So that's where I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is where I'm going.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, man.
That was
What's that?
That
Yeah, that was
the
the beginning. And my mom flew me out, bless her heart. You know, she flew me out there. She came with me. I flew on my birthday, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you get out to LA. LA's not cheap.
LA is extremely expensive. It's extremely expensive. I'm thankful for my parents helping out. You know, they helped me. They helped me financially, just, you know, to have taking care of my apartment and stuff. And then I worked a little job out there.
Okay. Okay. So how'd you work your way into the system, you know, into
for acting. So they had these websites where you could apply for different gigs online for acting. So one day, and this is actually going to bring it into the Kobe Bryant. One day they were looking for, it was a Guitar Hero commercial. They were looking for someone that could do a suicide dive into the worm. Now, suicide dive, right? Like literally a suicide dive, like you're diving from a pool. Like let's say if you were just diving into the pool.
right.
So you have to do that into the worm. Now I can do a dive, but I can't do the worm. So, you know, I got a text message when I was at school that day saying like, hey, look, we're looking for someone that can do a suicide dive into a worm. So I'm like, you know, I didn't think much about it. Then I believe God sends things in threes, and this is why I'm going to bring this. So later that afternoon, I get it maybe around like 11 or 12. I get this message saying like, hey, look, we're still looking for someone that can do a suicide dive into a worm. So I practice in my living room, right, man? I dang near hurt myself. And I'm like, you know what? Forget this. I'm not doing it. You know, forget that. But then I got one more email around 3 p.m. saying that, hey, look, we're still looking for someone. It's Tom Cruise Risky Business commercial. We're still looking for someone that can do a suicide dive into a worm. So I'm like, you know what, man? I'm going to go ahead and go. Like, I'm just going to take a risk. I didn't have a car or anything. So I was going to take the bus. And if you don't know about traffic in LA, it takes you an hour to go. Yeah, it's super crazy. It takes you an hour to go 5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to get the bus, but I realized there was a taxi there. I thought I had $20 in my wallet. I go to my wallet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have the money to even get this taxi. But the guy was a guy from Ethiopia, actually. And he said that, you know what, I'll drive you the whole way. So he drove me I had $5 and not 20. So he took the $5 and he let me out right there on Sunset, which he's been a blessing in my lifetime. I wish I could find him again. And then it really is crazy. I walked about a mile, and because it was Tom Cruise Risky Business, you know, where he's in the underwear and dress shirt.
Right.
This is my first audition ever. So I'm like, I got to be different. I got to stand out. So I see that I look inside the window. I can kind of see outside that there's a thing that says Guitar Hero. So I take off my pants in the street, man. I have my boxers on. I have my dress shirt. I walk into the building. I open it up, and this is where I learned the biggest thing ever. I walk in, and there is just this line of supermodels. There might have been 20 supermodel girls in there sitting in what is called a waiting room.
Right.
They're waiting for a Verizon commercial, and the casting director of the Guitar Hero commercial was like, you could have actually taken your pants off inside the room. So I'm like, man, it's like, you know, I think it's 4:00 at this point. So he's like, you can go ahead and come on in or whatever. He's like, did you watch the dance dialogue for this? And I was like, no, I didn't see the dance dialogue. Or actually, I didn't see the dance choreography for it. So I watched the choreography real quick. I love Guitar Hero because I played it in New York and I played it all my lifetime. I love the game. I used to always play the game with my brother. So that music hits, and I told you I can do a suicide dive into the worm, right? So this adrenaline hits, man. I just jump up in the air, hit the little, I did a little choreography at first. I hit the suicide dive into a worm. I get up, I just start jamming out. Like, you know, they say you can do whatever you want. And then you got to do it a second time. Dude, I hit that joker the second time, did it again. And like, when I finished, I was just like freezing there. And the casting director was like, that is the best we have seen all day. So, man,
they were waiting for you.
Yeah, it really was, man. It was a blessing. So I didn't think much about it. But I told my mom that I was like, I called my mom right after it happened. I was like, Mom, I don't care what happens, just as long as I go into every audition just as bold as I was with this one, and then take those risks. And I took the bus home, And by the time I got home, they called and said, hey, you booked this.
Wow.
And they asked me, they're like, well, are you in SAG? And I said, no, I'm not in SAG, with Screen Actors Guild. You have to be part of Screen Actors Guild to do, national commercials, any speaking roles that are SAG or after affiliated. Right. I said I wasn't, but they ended up I ended up getting Taft Hartley for that.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, man. Sorry for that little long story there.
Hey, no, that's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. Because yeah, I mean you had the signs and you took a risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
You took 2 risks. The pants off was the first risk, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned, first audition. Well,
yeah,
the first one that got you the gig, and I actually, when I was kind of doing some research, I ran across some videos, and you would say, I guess you were doing your after your audition yourself, and I believe you would say, "Clear eyes,
full hearts can't lose." Yeah.
What's the story?
So, Clear Eyes, Full Hearts Can't Lose comes from the TV show Friday Night Lights. Me and my brother are huge fans of that show, so we used to watch that. So my brother and I would always say that to each other, clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. So it's just our way of us keeping each other motivated, because we're so many over 2,000 plus miles apart. Mm-hmm. So, my brother would always call me and we'd say that back and forth to each other. So I decided after auditions that that's something that I would say going into auditions, just because my hope was always to inspire and motivate people.
Right.
So that, hey, here it is. I'm going into this big casting for the session, and I just want people to know that, I'm not scared. Clear eyes, as long as I give it all as long as I give it all I have, man, go in there and do my best, then leave it all the room. Then that, clear eyes, full hearts, man, you can't lose. So that's where that came from. Yeah, and it sprung from that show, because I loved Friday Night Lights, and then the coach was just so motivating in that show, Coach Taylor.
Yeah, goes back to your football days.
Absolutely, man.
Friday Night Lights, yeah. No,
absolutely.
Richmond wasn't the same as Texas. We know Texas is like the mecca.
Got it. Yeah.
Richmond's not bad either. That's all.
Yeah, it really isn't, actually. It really isn't. Hey, some good talent came out of Richmond.
Still coming.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the whole like I mentioned earlier, my wife and my youngest daughter's favorite show, Criminal Minds.
Okay, yeah, man. This is all right. So Criminal Minds at the time is just this incredible show. So I had done soap operas before. I'd done soap operas for about 3 years. Leading up to Criminal Minds, I had done a movie called The Green Hornet. At the time I had done Days of Our Lives as well, and then had done Young and the Restless. I've been in all those shows at that time. So I was looking to try and make my break into doing episodic TV, which is I feel, in my opinion, is one of the hardest things to do. Mm-hmm. Just because there's so many roles they have to cast. The process itself, I don't even completely understand the audition process, what goes on after the fact. I just know that it was just, my goal was to book. It made it up my mind that I was going to book an episodic show. So Criminal Minds, friends of mine about 4 years before Chris Nagel and Crystal Nagel told me that I should be in a TV show called Criminal Minds. I'm like, guys, look, you guys are insane. It doesn't work that way. You have no idea how hard it is. So here comes 2015. I get a call one day. I'm at work. I'm at one of my part-time jobs, and I get a call. I finished up my part-time job. I get a call that says, hey, look, we want you to come in this afternoon to audition for Criminal Minds. So I go in there. I had been through, at this time, I think I had probably done like 90 plus auditions.
Wow.
So I go in there for this audition. I'm like, okay, hey, this is going to be, we'll just see how it goes. And I got the little breakdown that said it was going to be a producer, director, writer session. So when I walked into the room where the audition was, there were about 9 people in there. So that's all the director, the writers, the producers, all of them were in this room. So I said some kind of joke or something that made them laugh, which is always a good thing. So I'm like, okay, hey, this is the room's good. And then I went and did the scene. It was actually a serious scene. I was going to be playing this cop that was getting killed or something. That was the role that I was going to do whenever I auditioned. So I auditioned for it. On my ride home, I get a call that says, hey, you booked it. So I was all super stoked. Like, I'm like, oh man, I can't believe this. And so I was excited. And then
wait a second.
Go ahead.
That was your first
audition for Criminal Minds. Yes.
So you auditioned for it one time.
Yes.
No callback, nothing like that.
Yeah.
and booked it that quick before you got home.
Yes. Now here's the deal. That is correct, but I've been on 99 auditions before that where I hadn't, booked things. So
Right. Yeah. But still, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know a lot about Hollywood, but people tend to say like, I went and they called me back for, second call, third call, blah, blah, blah.
yes.
Just saying you booked it on the first, your first joint. That's
Yeah. I'm very thankful for that. Believe me, there's other shows that I've had several callbacks for. That's the story in itself that it's taken a while to book, but that's just the nature of the game. So I it's a blessing. I'm very thankful that, when I went in there, I showed them how I could do performance-wise, and I happened to be what they were looking for. So what ended up happening, though, is they called and said, hey, Brandon, we actually don't want to kill you. We think you actually be good as a, like a detective or something. We actually don't want to, we just don't want to use you one and done, and you get killed off.
right.
So they said, you're going to be playing, like, my agent called. They said, like, they don't want you for that. They want you for the season finale of season 10, which is going to be way bigger. You're going to be playing a detective or something like that. So I didn't think much about it. I was, looking for, they sent the script over. And then when I got the script, I was looking for, the detective number one. And I saw this thing that said, like, Agent Rush, something like that. So I called back. I actually called the casting office or production. I'm like, hey, look, excuse me, my name is Brandon Rush here. I'm supposed to be playing like detective number like 2 or something like that. I don't see that. They're like, I see this Agent Rush thing, and she said, yes, Brandon, that's you. That's your character. I said, no way. They're like, you did a really good job at the audition. They really liked you. And so when I actually went to the table read for it, one of the executive producers came up to me and said, we loved your name. You did a great audition. So we decided, hey, why not make this character Agent Rush?
That is crazy. Not only
Yeah.
book it, they named it after you. They named it.
Yeah, right. That never happens. That kind of
Right.
stuff doesn't happen. And so I actually had food poisoning the day I was filming, which was terrible. Like
Wow.
the day of filming was great, but having food poisoning, if you never had food poisoning before, I was like about to, I was getting really sick on set, but I didn't want them thinking I was nervous. And I was worried that they were going to think I was nervous, but really I was just, battling food poisoning. But I had a great day on set, man. Met Shamar, met Tom, met everybody was there at the time. Matthew Gray Goobler. That's who my scenes were with that initial first time. Are the people I work with. And I met this incredible guy named Jim Clemente, who I talk about often. He is a retired FBI agent and a former New York prosecutor who was one of the writers in that episode.
Wow.
Along with Janine Sherman Barros, who is a huge writer. She does a bunch of different shows. She did Third Watch back in the day. She does Claws. She has so much work out there. It's just a blessing that they gave me that opportunity, that everyone at that show gave me that opportunity.
Man, they gave you a name, and it was your name, and you were a recurring character.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I came back this season.
Yeah, how was that? Because it was the last season, man, and like I said, my household was going crazy. What are we gonna do without Criminal Minds?
Oh man, it was such a blessing. I know it's certain characters come back from every once in a while. It's a rarity that they bring a character back. It really is a rarity. So to have that opportunity for them to just say, hey, look, we think you are right. We want to kind of make you Commander Brandon Rush now. Which I'm like, man, like you guys.
I've been promoted.
Yeah, thank you so much. Head of hostage rescue team. So they brought me back for that, and then that was just a blessing to be with everybody on that set. And a friend of mine's daughter is a huge fan of the show as well, Amaya. So I got a video for Amaya with everybody in the cast just saying hello to her, which was pretty awesome. And I sent that over to him. Yeah, man. My dad used to do things. My dad and my mom both used to do things like that for us. Just, try to make your kids happy and like anything you can do for them. So when my buddy Eric asked that, I was like, man, definitely, that's the least I can do, man. Just because it reminded me of what my parents used to do for Dave and
I. Man, now you mentioned your parents quite a bit. Like,
yes,
your parents were like in your life.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. My parents, both of them, are just the strongest people. Like I would not be the man I am today without my parents. Without my brother, my grandparents, and the community that I was raised around with. Just we had that. I'm very blessed because I know not everybody has that opportunity, but just my parents are just these strong individuals that have just, showed me the importance of just being good to people, being nice, respectful to your elders, and even volunteering, which is a big thing that I do now as well. Motivationally speak at a lot of schools.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So you've been in, like you mentioned, you were headed to film Blue Bloods.
Yes.
You did the soap operas, multiple, Criminal Minds. Outside of what I was gonna say, what is your, I won't say favorite, what is your most memorable time on a set?
Oh man, that's difficult, brother. That's really difficult. And the reason it's difficult because it is. I don't think people realize how hard it is to book a TV series. So every single time on set has been a blessing. So
Yeah.
I remember, you know, the first time I was on set of Criminal Minds, I'm just like, oh man, I can't believe it. Finally, I've done it. I finally cracked the episodics. So I'm so thankful for just this opportunity to be here. And just being on set is such a blessing.
Right.
So after that, you know, I went and did my first. I'm like, okay, I had a goal in my mind. I wanted to film something in New York. Was just trying to work that angle of being able to book something in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to try to book something in New York, I was auditioning in New York a lot. I ended up getting this movie in Miami, Florida. So that was my first time filming outside of Los Angeles. I filmed this movie called To Lava to Lantula in Miami, Florida, which was awesome with people from Police Academy. So after that, so I went down there. I filmed in Miami, which was really awesome. And then so I'm like, man, I have to get to Atlanta. You know, I'm still trying to get New York, but I had to get myself to Atlanta because finally my parents and my friends might be able to come visit me on set. So I auditioned for the TV show 24 Legacy, which was the reboot to 24, which I actually found out about when I was in Miami. Ended up booking that, and one of the first calls I made was to my mom, and I was just, hey, Mom, would you like to come with me to set? And so my mom came with me to set, which was a blessing. I mean, that's just my parents can't travel out to California like that. You know, we don't have the means to do that.
Right.
So for my mom to be able to come with me to set was just a huge accomplishment for me because it's like, it's not something that you know, I guess even like NBA players or people that reach something in their lifetime where they get to bring their parents or help their parents out in some kind of way. Right. Just for me, that was a big deal. And so from there, so that took me to Miami. I mean, that took me from Miami to Atlanta, still trying to book things in New York. In the process of trying to book things for New York, I booked a show in New Orleans, NCIS New Orleans. So I ended up filming in New Orleans for the first time. And then finally came around to Blue Bloods, booking something in Blue Bloods, which was able for me to film in New York.
Dang. So you got your trifecta, and then you got who's in there as well.
Absolutely, man. But it's just I've worked with so many incredible people. That's why I'm sorry, unfortunately, I can't say which one is I don't have a favorite because they've all been so special to me because just to be on set is a blessing.
Absolutely. I can respect that. Yeah. So I've told you I wasn't going to hold you too long, but
you're good.
Talking to you, man, you know, it's a lot of information. Plus, it's a lot of people that have those dreams and they never necessarily either go after them or they just don't see a path to them. And you were blessed enough and talented and fortunate, and you worked hard enough to grasp that. So
absolutely,
I had to talk about it at any point I can, you know.
Absolutely.
So tell me about growing up. You always mention your brother Dave. Growing up, what did y'all watch? What was it that captured your imagination and got you really thinking about this?
So whenever me and my brother weren't playing sports together and stuff like that, because I've always looked up to my brother, Dave. Dave was, you can ask for a better big brother, man. He's always been this inspiration. He was just a star, you know, so good at everything that I was always trying to be like him. But dude, we watched everything, man. Like there was a movie called Inner Space on the other day with Dennis Quaid and Martin Short from back in the day. Right. Like we literally watched everything: 48 Hours, Predator, Aliens, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, Sylvester Stallone movies, Denzel Washington movies. Like I remember Glory. We watched everything. We watched so much TV. I mean, the Cosby Show, man. I mean, we grew up on all there's Martin. There's just so much TV that my brother and I used to watch that we'd always choose characters. Like, hey, I'm going to be this guy, or I call this guy ultimately, or I call that guy, you know, cartoons, Thundercats. So, man, we literally watched everything. I'm a movie dork. My brother's a movie dork. And one of the awesome connections that we have is that we always call each other up about movies. Like, hey, have you seen this yet? Now that we're not together, you know, like in the same city, but we'll call, have you seen this or that? So we watch literally everything, man, all kinds of genres. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? You know, my dad would always take us to the theater. Star Trek, man. That's one thing that I have to say. Star Trek is probably our biggest. Just Captain Kirk was a guy, and I always related to Captain Kirk because he believed in no matter what happens that you can come out of it, even death scenarios, like if you were gonna lose, or turning any losing chance into an opportunity to win, even when things seem the darkest, still fighting your way into victory. So that's just something my dad, instilled in us just with watching Captain Kirk. Like I was watching Star Trek with my dad earlier today. Like that's how. In fact, we've been watching that the last week.
Now you, that quote sounded very soldierish, like military, like.
Yes.
And your brother actually told me to ask you about the Marines and maybe.
Oh, my buddies in the Marines. Yeah. Oh man, I love these guys, man. Just want to try not to get emotional about the guys. Well, first I have a friend named. Both our grandfathers were in the Army. They were Korean War veterans. I want to list all my military buddies just I can think of from heart. Well, first off, there's Corey Blackman, who was a roommate of mine, who was in the Army. And he actually deployed to Iraq when we were in college.
Wow.
So he's a special guy that's just been in my lifetime. He's like a brother to me. Then there's Chris Nagel, Josh Greb, Bobby Bradford, Dave Ballman, Jack Norton, Balze, Brandon, Chad Johnson, Chad. There's so many of these Marine guys who just were influential. They're some of my best friends in college. And just being around those guys, I just learned so much from them, and they were inspiring. Especially, Bobby Bradford and Dave Ballman were these guys are about 9 years older than us that had been enlisted men in the Marines who eventually switched over to officer. They came to college through, I think, the GI program or GI Bill or something. I'm not exactly sure. But they really just, were mentors to us. So, I love my Marine buddies. I talk about them all the time. I've been blessed to be in all of their weddings. And I'm still close with those guys today.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Because you have I guess you said a lot of those guys from college. So
yes,
college buddies, and you kind of split up. I guess it's kind of like sets, like your buddies go off and you stay close to some of them, but you seem to stay close to a lot of those.
All of them.
Guys.
Yeah, man. We're all, and then I have friends that weren't just in the military too. I have a lot of friends. Like at University of South Carolina, I had friends from home, but then I found like my second home unit at University of South Carolina. I can honestly say I'm still friends with everybody.
Wow.
And we keep in contact with each other.
That's probably a testament to your personality.
Yeah, I'm a people person, man. And, I don't think I'm better than anybody. I just try to be a good person, man, the person God and my parents raised me to be. So I'm thankful. And then there's so many people from around the world that are just amazing that I've been fortunate enough to meet that I am always learning. So it's just been a blessing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to get you out of here, Brandon, but we have to do this one thing. Like,
okay,
really started as a thing. Sometimes I'll do videos and I'll do a top 5 of whatever category I'm thinking about at the time.
All right.
And we're going to start incorporating that in here.
Okay.
You. So, movie guy, top 5.
Oh.
No, not top 5 movies. Not top 5.
Okay.
I'll do that to you. But you might be mad when I tell you what it is.
Okay.
Top 5 individuals, maybe dream individuals that you would love to work with, whether producer, actor, whatever.
Okay. Ooh, top 5. Dang. All right, because now I'm thinking I should have probably thought about this a little earlier. Top 5. Steven Spielberg is one. I have worked with J.J. Abrams, and I've actually worked with Clint Eastwood too. So I'm not going to use those.
Wait, but that's good to know, because if you don't mention them, then we still know they're there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get them in there too, because they are Christopher Nolan as well. Who else is there? Denzel Washington is an actor that I like to work with. One of my favorite, I believe her name is Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain.
I love her, man. Her acting ability is just absolutely incredible. She's a person I like to work with as well. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I really would, man. I really would, just because I love his energy. He is inspiring to me, just the way he just interacts with people. So he's definitely an inspiring person to me. James Cameron is a person I'd like to work with as well. Sylvester Stallone, clearly he'd be awesome. Oh, and then Ryan Coogler. he's doing some incredible things. That was the director of Black Panther and Creed.
That I could see.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot, because you call me on the spot, I can really think about it like right offhand. But I mean, there's a lot of, I love movies. I love TV shows. So there's a lot of people I want to work with. Quentin Tarantino, if I could, but I know he's coming to an
everybody.
End. Everybody. Yeah. Well, Quentin Tarantino's like, I think he said he's coming to an end because I think he said he might do one last film. So I'm like, please let me get in that before, you retire or anything like that.
Wow. I didn't even realize that. Okay. He said he's about to wrap it up.
Yeah, I thought he said that. I thought he has one more movie left in him. I thought.
Wow. Yeah. Well, prayers up for you.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Any opportunity I can get is a blessing. I've learned so much. I've worked with incredible directors already, so it's just been a blessing.
Dope. That's dope. Well, man, I appreciate you joining me today. I appreciate you representing the city.
Absolutely.
We need to know our 804 people, man. A lot of times people, it's like, I'm sure a lot of people don't. I'll just throw out one name, Constance Wu, who is
okay.
Fresh off the
from
boat.
Crazy Rich Asians, right?
Yeah, she's from.
She's from Richmond.
Yeah, but people don't know these things, and they, it's kind of different when you look at the TV and you're like, yo, they live right over here,
Yeah, absolutely.
Give you a different bit of pride. So definitely thank you for joining me.
Absolutely.
Is there anything we need to tell the people? Any type of?
Yes, right. So Blue Bloods, I'll be on episode 20, which is coming up. Should be coming up in a couple of weeks, but I'll be in episode 20 of Blue Bloods. So that should be coming up pretty soon here. So just keep an eye out for that. I play Officer Danoon on that. So that's what I have coming up that I can think of right off bat right now.
Hey, that's great. That's great. Once again, I appreciate you, Brandon.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you too, Mike.
No doubt. Thank y'all for watching. Source and Company. Out here.
Peace.